What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Small Town Roofer Podcast. Today we have John Starry with Steadfast Roofing in Florida. John, how are you today?
I'm great, Scott. How are you doing, man?
Fantastic. This is podcast day. I try to lump it into one day. So this is number 3 for today for me. They'll release one a week, but honestly, I love doing it because I just get to kind of talk with people that are, kind of have the same mindset I do and going through similar things that I'm going through or have went through. And maybe I get to help. And when I did just a little bit ago, I got to learn a little something. So, it's always great to get both sides of it. So, yeah. So where are you located exactly in Florida, just so we understand?
Yeah, I'm in Riverview, which is about 15 minutes south of Tampa. Everybody knows where Tampa is, so I'll just kick that off that way. So
that's an easy way to put it.
Yeah,
cool. Well, actually, I'm going to Clearwater Beach sometime this winter. I think that's kind of close, right?
Yeah, it's pretty close. You might run into Hulk Hogan up there or something.
Oh, cool. That'd be freaking sweet.
Yeah, I'm about 45 minutes to an hour away from there, depending on traffic, which around here, it's just been getting worse by the year. So,
oh yeah, Florida's wild. Like the growth rate of people that live in Florida, it's insane. The only place I saw that I felt like might be worse was in like the Phoenix area in Arizona. I went out there in the winter and I tried to play golf one day with a friend of mine that's out there, and dude, you couldn't even get a tee time. Like on a Wednesday, you know what I mean? The amount of people out there, it was insane. And he's like, they all leave as soon as the weather gets nice again. They go back to Utah or Colorado, wherever the heck they came from. And that's the only place I've seen that's kind of similar. Cool. Well, so Steadfast Roofing, you guys are doing good things. I've kind of checked into you. I mean, your background for your Google Meet is freaking awesome. So you're putting a lot of effort into even the little details, which tells me that you're doing things right. So why don't you kind of tell us how you got started in the roofing business and just kind of give us the quick journey from then to today.
So I got introduced to it all. I had a very white collar background where I first got into the working industry and things, and back in 2003, I got laid off from an office job and things. And, it was pretty hard to kind of get back into doing that because every position I was going for, I was up against other people with 10 years more experience than me. So I ended up working for a home improvement company on weekends and my days off. And all the while I was kind of searching for things, I was actually taking courses at a community college. And man, I just found that I loved being outside, and I loved not being trapped behind a desk. So I moved from white collar to blue collar, and I just love being outside all the time. And ever since I've moved down here, I've done everything from I've done window replacements and things, but roofing is the one thing that I truly kind of feel like I can talk about, I know enough about, and I can educate people on, and it just fit for what I was actually passionate about. So when I first moved down here to Florida, I had worked for a number of different contractors. I kind of learned more about what not to do or what I didn't want to do when I planned to start my own company and things. And I really just learned what resonated with people, what people truly valued. And I tried to build a business around that. End of the day, the company's named after, basically just my beliefs. I'm a very church driven sort of person and things. I'm very involved with my church, and on top of that, the word steadfast just means unwavering and unfailing and things. And I think it's a really good quality to have in a roofing company name and with a roof. So I just decided, I'm tired of seeing how people run things and don't take care of things. And they put profit before the people that they actually serve. And that's not the way that I wanted to do things whenever I started my own company. So
yeah, I think you're dead on. It's the people that are paying you are the people that's going to promote you. And if you're not taking care of those people, your life in this business is going to be very short-lived. And I know many of them locally here that have given it a shot. And, sure enough, when they don't put people first.
Yeah. The big thing is, man, is your reputation is all that you have to kind of hinge on, and the moment that starts to dip, it's an uphill battle to regain that. And I'd much rather be not having to work to regain it and just do the right thing, even if it ends up making me a little bit less profitable on a job. I mean, I'm still doing the right thing. And end of the day, when it all comes down to it, I can actually count on those people that I did the right thing for to refer me. So guess what? I get it all back anyway.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So that's how you kind of got started. Where's your business at today? Like, what size of team do you have? How many projects you doing? Things like that. You know, what size of business are you running right now?
Well, we're not a huge company or anything like that. I have 5 salespeople working for me at this point. I have a site supervisor that oversees like all the jobs, kind of keeps the crews on site and does the running for them and things. He's the person that is an additional like resource to the homeowners that we serve and whatnot. But this week alone, we're doing 12 full replacements plus a bunch of repairs. Like we've been hit with a wave of rain down here, and people have had some issues with a lot of things, but the things that we can actually help with their roof, like we're doing a lot of repairs for a lot of people right now too.
12's a bunch. Like that's a lot of roof replacements in a week's time. This has been a really good week for us. I think we're doing like 8 or 9 this week. A couple big ones, but I don't think, that's a bunch of roofs. That's kicking some ass for sure. So congratulations on that for sure. Do you see a big swing in your winter? I know a lot of the country, most of the country sees a big downturn in the winter, but where you're at, does it stay fairly steady through the winter months?
It does. It definitely does. And believe it or not, there's actually some people down here that actually put off these projects thinking that like, they're going to pay less or something along those winter months and stuff. But they're also like very mindful of like the kind of environments that these crews are out working in and things too, right? Like
Sure.
they think about the actual temperature and they're like, well, I don't want somebody up on my roof sweating whenever it's like 100 degrees out. I'd much rather have them out here in the fall time when, it's only a, high 70s, low 80s or something, but things don't really take a huge dip over like the fall and winter months and stuff for us. But there are certain times of the year though when things do get kind of weird, right? Like for some reason, like the 2 weeks around Labor Day, there just seems to be a huge dip every single year. Like the start of summer for us, like there's always a huge dip then. And I'm assuming that it has to do with, school and vacations and things like that. But
people in Florida like to go on vacations. I thought you guys like kind of lived in vacation down there. That's where we all go. We all come to Florida for vacation.
That's the case, man. Like I need a vacation, I guess.
Where do you even go for vacation? If you live in Florida, you got great weather. You go north?
I mean, we're going up to Tennessee here in October, so like I do.
Oh, it'll be beautiful at that time of year.
I do definitely like to visit the mountains and things, but I'm from Pennsylvania, and I thought that I had enough of that stuff in my days, but I keep going back to it. But
there's definitely something about it. There's something homey about it, something comforting about,
Yeah, for the first day or two, it's like, oh, this is great. But then after that, I'm ready to get back. You're right. It's cool down here. I could never imagine living anywhere but here.
That's awesome. We were talking before we got started about kind of the state of the market and the way things are. And, you and I are, I don't know, probably 16 hours apart. So we're not in anywhere close to a similar market. But I feel like we're experiencing very similar things in the market. I know, and funny you said, I just put out a little Facebook post the other day about arriving to our second busy season.
Yeah.
When school goes out for the summer, we die. Summer's always a little bit slow. I mean, it's steady, but it's a little slow. And then it goes completely dead. It actually started last week. We noticed last week leads completely dried up and they won't pick back up until after Labor Day.
Yeah.
It's been that way. I've been in business 9 years. It's been that way for 9 years. It's always that way. So we're really excited about that time of year again. We can get ready to start rocking again. But this year has been weird. Like I feel like there's some sort of downturn going on, or everybody got so much COVID money that they got all their work done, and now it's slowed down. Because I don't feel like people are working in my area. People are, have jobs. They're working good. They're making good money. Things are good economically, but it's like everybody's scared to spend their money. And even when we get opportunities, they're like, well, I'm going to hold out until this time. I'm going to have you do it, but it's going to be next spring. And, we get some of that, but this year I feel like we've got a lot of that and we got it real early. Like we're getting that kind of stuff already. Usually that's like a October thing, but we've been seeing that through July, so it's been a real strange year for us. We were, really wanting to hit that $10 million mark this year. We were really confident we could do it too. And we're barely going to surpass last year's goal. We did 7 million last year, and that was our goal. And I don't know that we'll match it, I think, but I don't think we're going to beat it by much. So it was kind of disappointing. But what are you seeing down in your market?
So it's been coming in such odd waves, but I know that our cost per lead, especially through social media avenues and things, has actually gone up by 3x from where we had been. But we're not getting as much organic traffic either, like organic phone calls, like people just checking out roofers near them and just calling us and things. But we are getting a lot of calls for a lot of people down here looking for work. We're getting a lot of calls down here for people looking for repairs. And like some of these repairs are not even roof related type issues and things. But of all those in all those misses for opportunities, like we have been getting other opportunities in other places, right? So we're getting people referring us that, our CRM platform has done a great job with like keeping us top of mind even after their job is done. Like we're getting referrals. We're wearing our company logo on our sleeves, and like people are stopping us and asking us like what it is that we do, telling us, having us tell them about the company and whatnot. Like I had a referral from my bank manager for a retirement community that we just ended up signing this week. And it was 160 square like shingle job, plus beginning of next year, they have their actual residence site that is double that size. And like they're hiring us for both of those. Like those are avenues like you wouldn't even think to go after, but like being proud of like where we're coming from and where we're working and the quality that we put behind everything, it's gotten our word of mouth exposure, to like really creep up a lot. And so a lot of the traditional marketing avenues that have been working really, really well for us in prior months, like have just almost died off. I can't really put like a real reason behind like why things have kind of panned out that way. But we're staying busy, fortunately.
Yeah. 12 jobs a week. That's busy.
Typically we're doing 10. But
that's still really good.
Those extra 2, man, like I love them too, man,
Oh, absolutely. What are you doing? You're doing a lot of referral work, but what else do you do for marketing that, you're either spending money on or just putting effort behind? You can do marketing that doesn't cost money, that, is just your time, I guess. So what else are you doing that you're having success with, or what are you doing that's failing?
Yeah. So the things I'm actually spending money on, I don't spend money on pay-per-click. I do spend money on local service ads, and I do spend money on social media advertising and things. But everything else, like I have tried everything from like Angie's and networks, like other lead aggregate sort of sources. I've tried Nextdoor ads. They don't work for me here in this market. But I'm actually going to be trying something new here where I'm going to be really pushing out like an instant estimate feature on some of these video advertisements and things that are going to pop up in other places like Gmail, YouTube, things like that. But I can't tell you how that's going to work yet. I'm going to try it out for a couple months and I'll definitely report back. But then on top of that, my site supervisor, he is at every single job. He's canvassing around all those. He's making sure that we have proper signage out. He's making sure that the catch-alls are up at every single job. And he's making sure that like every job site that we're actually a part of is clean, neat, pristine, presentable. That way, when neighbors drive by or, somebody walks by with their dog, like they're going to be like, wow, I have never seen a roofing company look like that or perform like that. And like, whenever it comes time for them to actually want to replace their roof, like they're going to know the logo, they're going to know the name, they're going to have some literature at their door. Hopefully they live close enough to that home that we're actually doing. And other than that, it's really been a lot of word of mouth lately that we've really been kind of like sinking our teeth into, which isn't something I really want to rely on, but I'm not going to turn it away though at the same token either,
That's always the lifeblood. If you're not getting referrals, you're probably not going to make it real long because one, they're free leads.
Yep.
And we got to have free leads to make up for our paid ads when they
Absolutely.
don't work. And I mean, if you're not doing it, if you're not getting them, it's because you're not doing the right things. And that will just simply, it takes, well, I just read something online there. Dimitri's got some big post going on about somebody in a video right now. And it said, you know, you spent 20 years building a reputation and you ruined it in 5 minutes. And I mean, to be honest, I don't really follow much of Dimitri's stuff. I've been off social media for 3 years. So time that he's gotten big, I've not been around social media at all. So
kudos to you, man.
Well, if it wasn't for this podcast stuff, I'd probably still be off of it. But you know, it's kind of hard to do that kind of stuff when you're not on it. Plus, it's much better for my business if I am on it. It definitely consumes more of my time. But if I am on it, I kind of focus on it a little bit more and can be some sort of oversight to whatever kind of campaigns or ads that we're running. Even though I'm not pro at setting them up, I can look at them to see if they're working, see if they look good, see if I, you know. So yeah, it's better for my business if I'm on it. Personally, it's better for me if I'm off of it because it just doesn't, it's such a time suck. You get watching a stupid Facebook reel and next thing you know, it's an hour and a half later and you've watched 200 of them and
I know, right?
You lost an hour and a half of your day, you know, so it is a time suck.
I will say, man, like I had completely sworn off like any kind of advertising on Facebook up until maybe about 6 months ago. And I finally feel like I found like a really good social media like marketer that like he's completely changed my opinion on social media advertising and things. I had tried so many different avenues with that prior to who I switched over to. And like, I'll tell you what, like he was really driving some great results, getting us in front of people. Like, and you know, I mean, you and I both use the same CRM. I mean, you know how powerful like that speed to lead campaign actually is. And man, we have been able to convert, I would say, over 50% of each of those leads coming in from a social media avenue to actual like in-person appointments, which is nowhere near what I was at before with any other marketing agency that I'd ever tried working with previous. And I don't know if it's really just the ads themselves or if it's just the speed to lead campaigns that our CRM kind of utilizes or what, but
it's the ads. I'm here to tell you, don't get me wrong, the speed to lead is what seals the deal.
Yeah.
But I was running ads all spring. And at one point we did a test. It was a $10,000 test, which is a really expensive freaking test, but you know, it's just part of it. So we ran $10,000 campaign. We got 0 projects from it sold. And we only booked 4 appointments. I think it was 4. Maybe it was 6. I think it was 4. But regardless, you book 4 appointments out of it was about 105 customers, cost 10 grand, and I only booked 4 appointments. To this day, we've still never sold one of those 4. So there was a good amount of spam. There was just nothing. Nobody. Oh, I didn't mean to fill that out. Well, how didn't you mean to fill that out? Like,
and
you did something. You know,
a way to really filter out all of that stuff, right? But I have found that like since I switched to forms that ask some qualifying questions to kind of like sweep some of that stuff that shouldn't really be coming to you that you be getting charged for like under the rug, like asking them like, hey, do you live within 50 miles of whatever city you're close to, right? Great. Do you own the home or manage a property there? Great. You know, I mean, it just weeds out so much of this other stuff that people from the other side of the coast are contacting us about, or people looking for jobs. Like it's weeded out so much of that stuff, and we've actually gotten better quality, qualified customers actually filling these forms out. That I think it's all in the way that you qualify them before it even gets into your inbox. You know, but
sure. You're going to have to share with me at some point this guy you've got doing this marketing campaign, because I'd be interested to hear his strategy and maybe let him take a $5,000 test on some stuff, see if we generate anything from it. So
he could do something for you, man.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, so Facebook is working for you. It's not working for me. We actually, very similar. The canvassing around our job sites, our number one, so we got our top two, and you said we're both on Proline. Proline's got a really great dashboard. I mean, in seconds, I have reports on where my leads are coming from, what leads are selling, blah, 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 right? It's really, really great. What I'm seeing is Google is number one for us, and that's organic Google. But every market that we're in, we rank top 3. Our main market, we rank number 1. So we see a ton of just organic Google traffic. I credit a ton of that, though, to our brand awareness campaigns that we run through the radio and through billboards. I'm on all the local FM stations, but then we also went as far as there's a really, really popular AM station in our area that has ESPN on it, and then it's local news and something else. But it's definitely an older demographic that listens to it, but it's a very, very popular radio station. So we ended up pulling the trigger on that. But nobody calls in typically and says, yeah, I got your number off the radio.
Right.
We ask everybody, but what they say is, I got your number from Google.
Right.
Well, the trouble is like, yeah, you got our number from Google, but
what made you search for it?
Exactly. Where'd you hear about us that made you go with us or made you pick the phone up and call us? So it's really hard to get people to say anything but Google. But Google's number 1 for us, and then referral is number 2. And referral, we credit, yard signs, we credit canvassing, all of that stuff around our job sites, the catch-all. One of my guys was at the hibachi joint for lunch one day and literally got a lead in the parking lot because they saw his truck wrap.
Yep.
And he went to the job after lunch and sold it that afternoon. So to me, those are all referrals. He's heard of us from his friends or saw us on Facebook, but he learned to trust the brand, and then he saw it live in front of him, and he took the initiative to get an appointment. So those are the 2 that really work for us. But the brand awareness stuff, we also do outdoor. We do quite a few billboards. Again, nobody ever says, I got your number off the billboard, Yeah. But we can tell because, like, for instance, down in our Charleston market, we'll specifically get leads in the communities that the billboards are in.
Yeah.
So it's a very dense, if you look at our map, you can see like there's a bunch of pins and they're all around the billboard locations that we have. It's much denser there. So it's like, we know it works. It's just, there's no real way to track it. So it's an interesting method, but at the end of the day, I mean, when we see results, we just let it ride. Some of it's, you get too deep in the metrics and you kind of get lost in the weeds. I just keep doing what works.
We've tried radio, and it doesn't work well down here for us, but I haven't tried a billboard or anything like that yet. I'd be interested to it'd be interesting to see if I saw the same sort of result as you do, like around where your billboards actually are.
Here's the thing though with us.
Yeah.
I tell everybody, where I live is 20 years behind the rest of the country.
Yeah.
And there's other places of the country that are as far behind, but very few. But from where you're located, the guys in Houston, whatever, South Carolina, we're 20 years behind these guys. As far as just the way consumers buy and just people's mentality, we're just that far behind. To be honest, we are in a fairly racist part of the country. There's a lot of that's still not heavy, but we use Latino labor. You would be shocked the amount of people that give us pushback, even though our roof installations are by far the best in the area. In my opinion, they are the best. But we still get pushback. Well, I couldn't talk to him. What'd you need to talk to him for? You're just saying that you didn't like the Mexican guy on your roof. You can just say it and get it out. But
I mean,
let me make one point. Our advertising is cheap. Yeah. I can buy billboards for $400 a month. So just to give you some insight, not telling you go buy a bunch of billboards, I'm buying them at $400 to $500 a shot, depending on the location. And then radio, we completely dominate all FM channels in our market for $7,200 a month. Like, we are the most played contractor by far at $7,200 a month. So it's fairly inexpensive for what we get. It's just the market we don't have that much competition.
But I mean, just having your name out there and the awareness of your brand is going to have people searching specifically for you, though. So I mean,
Exactly.
that's huge, man. But in regard to Latino and Latino labor and things, like, I mean, that was one of the big things that we were hearing from people, is like the only people that really speak English on our crews are our foremen things, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of where my site supervisor falls in. You know, I mean, I let people know nowadays, like after they contract with us, like, hey, listen, you're going to have access to me. You're going to have access to the site supervisor, and our foremen speak English and things as well. The rest of my guys, they all speak roofing. So you're going to have to kind of just deal with that, you know? But I mean, there's pockets of that everywhere, man.
Sure.
End of the day, these guys and girls, they bust their butts and they do a great job. They know the right way to do things, and I'm not going to get in their way, man. Like they do great work for us. And
they're savages. They go out and kill it every day. And it's funny too, because the stigma is, you know, that they're fast and in a hurry and sloppy and blah, blah, you know, there's always that kind of stigma to it. Those guys are more prideful than any white guy in my area. Like, they're so proud of how good their chimney flashing looks, or how good, you know, the counter flashings on stuff is always, you know, a little bit more tedious of a work. And they're sending pictures to the sales rep. How do you like this? Or you know what I mean? Like, yeah, we couldn't do it better, dude. It's fantastic.
I mean, end of the day, man, like every white laborer that I've ever, I'm not bashing anybody by saying this, but a lot of the guys that I've had like do labor for me, they've had substance abuse issues. Like, you know, they get paid 1 week and then like you don't hear from them for days afterwards. Like, I need people that are reliable, that I can count on, that, you know, are going to do great work. And, you know, end of the day, like I'll keep giving them work, you know, but every white guy that I've ever had working for me doing labor has had some form of a substance abuse issue, and they just weren't reliable. So I don't have any tips for that over here, you know?
I literally tell my customers that give us a hard time, or not even really my customers, but like friends of mine or acquaintances that I know that I talk, how's that go with the Hispanic crews? I'm like, well, you got two options. You can hire crackheads, or you can hire Hispanic guys that don't do any drugs. I like the Hispanic guys because they show up every morning. They do everything that you expect them to do. They never push back. They love what they do. They're proud of it. And I don't have to worry about paying them today and not seeing them till Wednesday of next week because they're on a bender. And at one point I had 16, I think it was 16 in-house laborers.
Yep.
And I had a very, very good crew. And we had a little bit of substance abuse issue inside of that crew. I say little. There was a couple instances where they were users before, got clean, come to work, and then you could tell they were falling off the wagon. And, you know, that I'd have to let those guys go. But overall, we were very, very fortunate. But I mean, I worked my tail off to find these guys because they are the needle in the haystack. Because you get 100 applications, there might be 5 sober guys out of 100. You know what I mean? It's that bad. So it's like, I got sick of dealing with it. I got sick of chasing that whole problem around. It's like, I found these guys that, you know, we have barbecues, we have fun together. They're enjoyable. They're clean. That they take care of their stuff. They take care of my stuff. Like, they come to my shop and use a lot of my warehousing and my parking lot and all that stuff. And they keep everything neat and orderly. And, you know, they're just good people. So there's definitely something about it.
Labor is easy to find down here. Very easy.
Yeah.
But good labor, like that's the separator, you know? I mean, and like, I don't want my guys wondering like when I'm going to pay them. Like, they get paid every Friday. Like, everything that they have done, they are getting paid every single Friday. And honestly, the trick to keeping good labor down here is don't play with their money, man, and they will do good work for you. That's it.
The first crew that we brought on, it was Latino guys. It was such a blessing that I found them, but it was because the company that they were working for had went out of business due to fraud. And big company too, big company. They were giants in my area, but regardless, or in West Virginia, they covered most of West Virginia. But anyhow, kind of stumbled upon him. We had an acquaintance. We met. Well, I had him do one job, and as a test, I paid them at the end of the day. I wrote the check, handed it to him, parted ways. Called him back a few days later, said, "Do you want to come do another one?" And they kind of put me off a little bit. And we did this back and forth over about 5 to 10 jobs, where they wouldn't give me like a real quick turnaround, but they'd put me on for the next week or what, you know what I mean? Like I wasn't priority. You could tell I wasn't priority yet.
Yeah.
But by God, after about 5 to 10 jobs of me paying them at the end of the day, for that whatever many squares it was, we became once they realized, they're like, I explained to them, I can work you every day if you'll, take the projects and make me number one priority. And once we did that for a little bit, built that little bit of trust, dude, them guys, that was 3 years ago. And they ain't worked for anybody since. So now we pay them once a week because it's just too much to try to, and obviously we made an agreement together that it was just a hassle trying to meet up each day. They quit at 3 one day and 9 o'clock the next day. It's just too much to try to keep up with. We pay every Friday and they love it. So yeah, you're right. You got to take care of them. There's no loyalty in this game until you put your money where your mouth's at.
Right.
So, well, yeah, what do you got? You built this great business. You're doing a bunch of projects. Got a great CRM, great team. What's been the biggest challenge you have faced in your business career in the roofing industry to get to the point you're at today?
Oh man, I've learned a lot of lessons over the way, but knowing when to say no, that was an issue that I had early on. But right now, man, like what we're running up against more than anything else is, people in this market are slow. Like we're getting calls daily. Like I was just at my supplier down in Palmetto earlier, and I had a guy come up to my window and like knock on it and say, "Hey, you guys looking for workers?" A lot of companies right now are really just kind of struggling to keep their crews busy. And, when they don't have constant work, they're going to be looking elsewhere. And I don't want to grow so much to the point that like I can't keep the people that I rely on, fed with work and things, right? But I also don't want to let like a good crew potentially slip away from me and things, right? So the other thing that we're kind of looking at is, with all these crews that are looking for work, there's also a lot of companies that are dropping their margins. So it's getting highly competitive down here to the point that like they're dropping, 5% off of their typical margins and things. And like, I don't want to get to the point where I have to explain like discounting a price just to like get a job. We have our profit margins set where they are to ensure that we're here like next year, 5 years from now, things like that, to actually stand behind like anything that they might be experiencing with their roof. And end of the day, there's so many people around us right now that are just partaking in a race to the bottom, and like they're not going to be around much longer. And like that right now is the biggest challenge for us, is like we're kind of like fighting tooth and nail every now and then to like with certain people that have had those competitive offers from people that are dropping their margins, and we have to overcome that by letting them know like how we are different from them and like why our price is what it is. Are you guys running into that at all in your market right now? Or
so bad? You gotta remember, I deal with the Amish up here in Ohio. I deal with the Amish, and they're so tough. They're so freaking tough to compete with because they've got a bunch of different reasons they can be so competitive. One, in metal roofing, you literally, someone in the family owns a roll former, and they'll roll their own steel. So, and then they buy it for next to nothing. So their material cost is less. The way they structure the businesses, the family owns the business. So everybody just takes shareholder withdrawals. So nobody pays payroll tax. They've just got all these things that they can do to, and good for them. They've figured it out, and I live not far from them. I watch their way of life. If they're willing to live that way, dude, it's so tough. I went and bought some hardwood lumber off of one of the Amish mills out my way. The boy that helped me load that lumber in the bed of my truck, and it was like 1,600 square foot of hardwood, 9 years old.
Wow.
And I'm like, dude, I can get it. I can get this stuff. He's like, oh no, this is my job. This is my job. And I'm like, okay, whatever. He couldn't have weighed 70 pounds, or 60 pounds, and he's packing hardwood lumber to the truck. But, yeah, we're seeing it everywhere. We're seeing, and to be completely full disclosure, I mean, what we've done, because just what you said, we try to toe that line with our subs very carefully. We have awesome crews. We love them. We've built great relationships with them. We got one crew that moved here from New Jersey, and they have their kids in our school system now. Their kids go to school here in Marietta. They planted roots. They plan on sticking it out with us. You know what I mean? So we have to be very careful. We have to stay busy to keep our subs busy. We don't want them looking to go work somewhere else, because someone else will keep them busy if that's the case. If they realize how good these guys are and how dedicated they are to their job, that it'll be hard to get them back. So we have cut our margins to compete. And that's a big reason we're not going to hit our goal this year, which is really unfortunate.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, because the competitiveness has gotten so bad, we've had to play the game. And I freaking hate it. We're not going to make, the net that we want to make. I've had to cut a couple salaries. I had to get rid of a couple salaries that we had that were kind of in the overhead column. Had to, if I'm cutting gross profit, it's got to come from somewhere. You know what I mean? So I took some of the hit, but the company's got to take some of the hit too.
Right.
So, we just had to get lean and really, really focus in, and we're very dialed in. Our business is very dialed in. I mean, we're very, very good with our quoting. We're very good with our numbers. So we do have the capability to drop our numbers and still know where our profit will stand. So it's not a real dangerous game for us because our numbers are good enough, but at the same time, it's not a real rewarding game when your net is half of what it was last year. Right. And it's like, you know what I mean? Because I'm taking it in the shorts to make sure my sales guys stay rocking and my subs stay rocking. So it's just part of it. But
season though, man.
Yeah.
We're all going through it right now, I could definitely be winning quite a few more jobs if I, played that game a little bit more, but we've been in some of our advertising and things, we'll incentivize people that, hey, mention this ad, 500 off or something like that, right?
Sure.
Can we do that on somebody that wants their shed re-roofed or something? No. Like, but within reason, I mean, we can definitely, I wouldn't want my guys walking away from potentially winning a deal if we're talking about a spread of a couple $100, you know what I mean? Like, I'd much rather, I'll take the hit for that. Let's get that job done. Let's do it better than anybody. And, we'll make it back up on the next one or something. Right. But like, really like dropping margins to the point where like it's a sizable like hit to us. Like, I just can't, I don't know.
I get you. It's not a good feeling. When I went into our Proline account, I don't know, a handful of months ago, it was at the end of our, I always say we got two busy seasons, spring and fall, like I was talking a minute ago. We got to the end of spring and school was letting out and we didn't have much of a backlog at all. And I say not much, like a week and a half. Yeah. And, you get one good week of weather, that's gone. Like if you don't make a sale that week, which has been happening. We've had weeks where a sales guy didn't make a sale. You have to really, really start thinking about things. And we got to the end of that first busy season, and I went into Proline and changed my parameters for what I would allow for what I had the base set at. So I dropped it 5%. And then I also, because I let my sales guys have a 5% swing. So they can, if they need to sell a job, they go look at a monster and they go look at a 60 square job, but it's still only a 1 day job. Well, if that means dropping 5% to sell that thing, absolutely, because we're going to make more money on that job than if we just went and did a 25 square job or a 30 square job at our target margin, right? So the day pays better. So I give them a 5% leeway on what's the set parameter, but so we dropped the overall 5%, which meant they could go 5% lower as well in the right situation. But yeah, it wasn't, that was not a fun choice to make. It did change our summer. We had a fairly successful summer. And this fall is looking very promising, but it's not promising enough for me to climb those margins back up. We're booking out right now. I think our backlog's like 3 weeks, something like that. 2.5, 3 weeks, which is comfortable. I love it right there. That to me is perfect.
Yeah.
But it's got to get to about 5 weeks before I feel confident in starting to inch those margins back up. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's got to get enough to where it's like, okay, we got to do something to either sell a little bit higher profit work or bring on more crews to complete the work at hand, because 5 weeks to me is too far out in a roofing company.
I agree, man. I try to keep it right at that month mark. And when we start dipping below that, I start to get a little worried. But then when things start getting backlogged beyond that, I'm like, we better
gotta hustle.
Yeah. Anyway, it's so weird. Like, there's so many things in this industry to just balance. Like, whenever you're trying to make sure that like quality stays where it is, your profits are where they need to be, and just you can't make everybody happy all the time, but
sure.
It's even harder sometimes to force yourself to do the right thing with some people. So it's like
what are you are primarily residential, right?
Yeah, we've definitely done a lot more commercial this year than last year, but yeah, man, I mean, residential is 100% our bread and butter. That's what keeps the doors open. That's what keeps us all fed, for sure.
What kind of commercial roofing are you doing? You doing EPDM? You doing TPO?
TPO.
TPO.
Yeah.
Is EPDM even a thing in Florida with the heat? Like,
nope, not really.
It's not a big thing down there.
No. I've actually run into more people that have installed that themselves than like we've ever had requests for it, which is weird. But
we do a pile of it up here. Everybody puts on rubber. Nobody even, I don't even know if people know about TPO up here. Like, it's like which I personally, I don't like it either. I think I'm not a fan, but it's because I just don't understand it. I'm not good at it. I never learned how to do it. So kind of hard to sell it if you don't believe in it yourself. But
I'm not very good at it either, but I always like spend the time to make sure that it's right. So
yeah. You guys get into coatings or anything down there?
Not from a commercial standpoint so much, no. But we get silly calls all the time for people wanting like elastomeric coatings over top of their trailers and things like that.
Right.
I mean, we'll do that on like a weekend or something like that, but we're not going to like sick a crew on it or anything like that. It's not, we don't get into anything crazy like that.
We've been looking real hard at commercial coatings. We're certified with Mulehide with their pretty much, I think, every product now. But we've been looking at their silicone coatings, and I just feel that there's a market for it in my area because the price point during COVID, we looked at doing this, but silicone got really expensive. So it was $500 for a 5-gallon bucket during COVID. It's back down to around $300 for a 5-gallon bucket. But I priced it against EPDM back during COVID, and it was material-wise almost an identical price per square foot. So, obviously labor would be a little cheaper on the coating than on, a tear off and reinstall of rubber, but it wasn't enough of a savings to create the sales pitch to say, hey, this is, this would save you 40% doing this, plus we can put a 20-year warranty on it still. Through the manufacturer. To me, I want to offer a good warranty, and if the manufacturer believes that they can back it with a certified warranty for 20 years, then I believe in the product. Plus Mulehide's a great company. They are. I've got nothing but good things to say. So we've been really, really digging into that. I'm trying to make up a 1-page flyer right now to start passing out to local businesses that I know have roofs that would be good candidates for coatings, and maybe give them an option that is a little less expensive than an actual replacement cost. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll give it a try and see what happens. But installation's pretty gravy. So we've already done the trainings and stuff on it. So feel confident in that side of it. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, man. I hope you find success with that stuff, man.
Nobody's doing it. I don't hear of a lot of people doing it. So maybe I'm chasing a dream here that doesn't exist, but I don't know. It just seems like it makes sense to me. But
I hope it turns out better than Facebook advertising did for you.
Oh, that hurt. That hurt.
I'll have to hook up with my Facebook marketer though, man. See what he thinks he could do for you. But
absolutely. One last question before we part ways here. So, what do you feel like has really awarded the success that you guys have had? Because you guys are rocking, you're killing it. What things have really been the big factor? I mean, obviously you're good people, you're taking care of people, but what else? I mean, was there something else that you found along the way that was kind of a secret sauce for your company?
Man, I think it all just boils down to just the education that people kind of get and receive with us. Like, there's so many people still down here that are just writing their numbers on a piece of paper, sliding it over across the kitchen table to them, and just thinking that they're going to understand like what that's buying them, right? We want them to understand like what makes us different as a company. We want them to understand like some of the safeguards that we add into our roofs that other companies are going to overlook, right? We start that off all with like a very, very thorough inspection. We talk to them about things that we find while we're up there doing our inspections in the attic, up on the roof, things like that. Ventilation is a huge thing down here that so many people just don't understand. But then we talk to them. We offer people 3 different manufacturer products. We use Ico Dynasty. That's basically like our budget friendly option. We offer Owens Corning Duration, and then we offer Atlas Pinnacle. Those are the 3 options that we talk to people about. We talk to people about why we use them versus other brands. We get them bought into not only the company, but also the products that we install. And we really kind of show them about like why we install them, the way that we install them, and what the benefit in actually opting to use us versus some of these other guys out there are. But basically, I mean, so many people skim past just like what it is that $15,000 roof is getting them, right? Are they getting peel and stick underlayment? They getting synthetic underlayment? They getting like one thing that we kind of do that's a little bit different than other people. We'll actually use ring shank nails for the actual shingles themselves. And the benefit there that we kind of express to people is like, hey, the holding power that you get with a ring shank nail is far greater than that than you're going to get with a smooth shank nail, right? And one of the biggest causes of roof leaks is actual nail pops. If your nail's not coming up out of that shingle, guess what? Your chances of a leak developing from a nail pop go down significantly, right? But just talking to them about those small details that other people oftentimes just overlook goes a long way. And like people really truly understand what their money is getting them versus just writing a piece of, a number down on a piece of paper. So
sure, sell them the system, educate them on the system.
Yep.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. We'll have to have a separate discussion and try to switch you over to a GAF contractor so you can start selling the good stuff.
I could talk through GAF any day of the week. But,
well, we love it. So
listen, anything that's installed properly is going to last. You know what I mean?
They're all so good now. That's the problem. They're all so good now. Really, everybody, other than a couple really small manufacturers, make very comparable products today. We only honestly, our biggest thing with GAF is it's the relationship we have with them. That's why. And since they're the ones that wanted to build a relationship with us, we wanted to build a relationship with them. That's all that matters to us. Absolutely. So cool, man. Well, I won't keep you any longer. I'll get ready to cut this thing off. So I appreciate your time. It's been fun. You have to send me some info on your marketing guy. I'm going to talk to that guy.
Definitely, man.
Cool.
Be well. Hope you all the success in the world with your coating, everything going on that you have up there, man. You're doing great stuff up there. I
appreciate it. I'm sure you and I will be having conversations here in the real near future. So
100%, man.
Cool, guys. Well, thanks for listening to Small Town Roofer Podcast. And John, have a good rest of your day, man.
See you guys.
See ya.